Hi everyone, I'm here today to talk you through the May block of the month for mid-year block. And it's all about the curve this month. So we're going to do a traditional Drunkard's Path square, and we're going to put them together, and this is what we're going to make. So this uses all Drunkard paths to create this flower block. Again, you're going to get good at doing curves. So in your kit, you're going to find two pieces of fabric, a light green and a dark green. And from that, you are going to cut legs and center pieces. So some people call these pies and crusts too. So there's a couple of different ways you can make it. Your templates. So you're going to get this page in your directions. Again, you should always test and make sure that this copied to 1 inch. Then you're going to make yourself a template. So you can use template plastic, which can either be see-through or it can be opaque. I have opaque here, so you're just gonna, if you're using template plastic, just lay it down, trace around these shapes, and cut it out. If I'm using template plastic, I like to spray the back of my templates with 505 spray. It makes it sticky. So when I go to cut this out, I can just place it on my fabric and cut around. I don't need to use pins. So you can see it just sticks on there nicely, and then it just peels off and you can stick it down again. Again, that allows you not to use any pins. You can also use freezer paper. So freezer paper works the exact same way, except you're going to cut out your template, and the shiny side of the freezer paper you put to your fabric and hit it with an iron, and it will just stay temporarily while you cut around it. You can also use just plain old paper and use pins to hold your template in place. So you are going to cut these pieces. So from your dark green, you're going to cut 4 quarter circles and 2 legs. The light green, 4 quarter circles and 2 legs. Your choice 1, 4 quarter circles. Your choice 2, 4 quarter circles. And from the background, 12 legs. So after you get done cutting all your pieces, you're going to have legs and quarter square pieces. And now it's time to start making your Drunkard's Path. So the method that I like to do is I like to fold the leg piece and just finger press in the center so I get a crease. I also do that for the quarter circle, and I finger press that. So I like to sew with my quarter circle piece on the bottom. So I'm going to match up those 2 pieces right there, and I'm going to put a pin in the center, right on that finger pressed. So that's how I start mine. I'm going to sew with my circle on the bottom of my machine. So the next cheat that I do is I use a little bit of glue, whether it's just a glue stick or basting glue, and I glue the bottom edge of the piece down. So I'm just going to put a little bit of basting glue there and glue those 2 pieces together. That just helps me at the end make sure that everything stays lined up. You don't have to do that. I find it's useful for me. And as you're doing this, you're going to find which way works best for you. Some people like to sew with their legs down at the machine. Other people don't. My machine is set up with a 1/4 inch foot with a guide. I want that guide because I'm going to butt my fabric up against that while I sew my curve. So I'm going to to take my piece and I'm going to match up those two top parts, my fabric's right sides together, and I'm just going to stick that underneath my foot to where it just goes underneath the needle. And I'm going to drop my needle at that point before I start messing with the fabric. So I'm going to make sure that my red fabric and my white fabric are right at that guide. And this is really where I'm going to pay attention, is right where that guide is. And I'm just going to start slowly making sure that as I feed my fabric through, that my fabric continues to stay right up against that guide. And I'm just going to work my way around to the center, making sure that my fabric is lined up. I also want to pay attention that I'm not sewing in any creases into the fabric. So I'm just going to keep on going around. Again, when I get to my pin, I'm going to take my pin out. And again, I'm going to pay attention that my fabric is still on the guide, because now the curve is going to start going the other way. And I'm just going to continue to work my way around. So this is why I like to have that little bit of glue at the end, because it keeps my pieces together, and I don't have to really worry about if I'm going to line up or not line up. And I'm just going to continue to have that fabric up. And I'm going to sew all the way to the end. So after we get done sewing, you can see it's naturally going to want to fall to the quarter circle side. So you're just going to gently finger press that down, and you're going to take it over to your ironing board and give it a nice little press. So all we have left to do is to trim. After the block's been pressed, I'm going to take my squaring ruler and I'm going to place it so I get 3.5 inches and a 1/4 inch away from the edge of the little circle. So I'm just going to work this, and I'm going to trim the leg part first. You can see I am a 1/4 inch away from that quarter circle on each. I'm not going to worry about this part until I trim that side. I want to make sure that I'm on at 3.5 by 3.5, but I'm going to trim this side first. All right, so I'm going to trim this. And then I'm going to turn my block and I'm going to trim the pie side. So my finished size is going to be 3.5 by 3.5. And sometimes you're not even going to have to trim this quarter circle side, but it does get a little stretched when you're sewing, so just make sure that you trim it to a nice 3.5 by 3.5. You are going to make all the pieces, so each one of these pieces is a Drunkard's Path square. So you're going to make all these Drunkard paths. So you're going to make 4 with the dark green, 1/4 square circle with background legs. So those 4 pieces. You're going to make 4 light green 1/4 square circles with the background legs, and you're going to make those pieces right there. Then we're going to make with your choice number 1 and backgrounds, and your choice number 1 and light green leg, and your choice number 2 with background leg, and your choice number 2 with dark green leg. Then you're just going to follow the assembly instructions like we always do. I like to make rows and then add my rows together. And that's it. then you're going to have a pretty cool looking flower Drunkard's Path block. I hope you like sewing curves and that you find it fun. Again, you can pick up both April and May blocks anytime in the store. If you haven't already, they're available for pickup. So I'll see you in June for the June block. Not here in the store, but again through video. So hope everyone's doing well. Bye.